So last week here at the August 2025 NARBC Reptile Expo here in Schaumburg, we saw some of the most cutting-edge reptiles and amphibians that can be seen at this expo. Well, in this video, it's all about the snake morphs. This show has some of the most amazing snake morphs you will ever see under one roof. So I'm heading in and I'm going to introduce you guys to some of the most amazing snake morphs that can be seen here at the August 2025 NARBC Reptile Expo here in Schaumburg, Illinois. I'm Dave Kaufman and these are my reptile adventures. All right, so we are over here at Ohio Reptile Company with Chris, and over here we've got one of the coolest boas. And the reason why this is the coolest boas is, look at this. Excuse me, sweetheart. We got one heart right there, one heart right there, one heart right there. I'm sure there's other hearts, but that is like the coolest little heart-shaped pattern he's got.
Yep, and he's a type 2 anery and actually a ready-to-go breeder. Just something that we don't actually, unfortunately, need anymore.
So it's funny because, you know, you see these like pied ball pythons that have smiley faces and emojis, but very rarely do you ever see a boa that has heart-shaped pattern.
Yep.
Let's take a look at these moon glows, because I think that within the boa world, moon glows are one of those snakes that I probably would get, not even to breed, just because they're so beautiful, just to have one as a pet.
Right.
And these have come down to $1,000, which is affordable now. I remember when these were like $15,000.
Yes. I like the moon glows. I will always be a sucker for the sun glow, just because a little more color. But the moon glow, I mean, it's a powerhouse of a snake, really.
Sure.
So you've got, this is a call line. So you've got albino, anery, and you've got hypo.
I like that this has retained the name Moonglow for a hypo snow.
Right.
Because like in the bull snake world, if you have a hypo snow, it's called a moonglow. I mean, that's what that morph is called. And I really like that, you know, those kinds of gene combinations, the name is kind of being carried over to another species of snake.
Now in the VPI, it's a snow glow. So there's a little variance in that, and we should actually have some IMG Labyrinth snow glows, hopefully in next spring to next summer.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, we've got some really nice cutting edge stuff coming over the next couple years.
Oh, I can't wait to see what you produce. You have some amazing boas. So Chris, thank you so much for showing off some of your snakes here. These are absolutely awesome. Morph Market is the #1 online marketplace for all your reptiles and amphibians. You can search through over 60 categories to find your perfect new pet, whether it's the latest boa constrictor morph or your 150th crested gecko. It's all right here at one place. Morph Market. All right, Brian Bodie, nice to see you out of Las Vegas.
Thank you.
So is this your first Schaumburg that you've vended?
This is my first NARBC that I've vended.
But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about some of the most amazing ball pythons that you have at this expo. Look at that.
So this is a pastel desert ghost krypton pied.
Holy buckets.
Het fur VPI xanthic.
That is a powerhouse.
And also on my VPI line, I have a trait that runs through in the same way that like a normal Kodam would, which is blue eyes. It's more intense on some of the bigger animals because they got the bigger eyes.
Look at that. You know, there's obviously a lot of ball pythons here. You see something like this and it really drops your jaw.
So krypton is a gene that works with, it's a visual recessive. And a krypton is a het clown and a het cryptic that's a visual het. It also works in the similar way that enchi and cinnamon work. You cannot produce a normal snake from a enchi cinnamon. So in this case, you cannot produce a normal snake. You can only produce het clowns or het cryptics. So what cryptic does is something very similar to like puzzle, where it kind of just has a really wacky pattern, but it's more rounded, whereas puzzle's more square. This is a visual cryptic, and you can see that he's got the blue eyes that can even be seen through that blue shed. So this is a cryptic, and you can see how that pattern is very unique.
Lots of flames or blushing.
And just very abnormal pattern. almost like what you would see in a puzzle.
Absolutely.
And some of the people that originally started with the cryptic gene chose to go cryptic over puzzle, thinking it was almost the same, but they are actually two separate genes. When you have cryptic and clown together, you get what's called a krypton, which we have actually in this animal right here.
Okay, let's see the krypton.
So a krypton also has a very similar pattern, but a way different head stamp.
Yeah,
So this
it
is-
almost has a clown head stamp.
and you get a pattern that's somewhat between the cryptic and somewhat between the clown.
All right, so we are back once again at Moss Family Adventure with Robert. It's been a couple of years since you won the Rattle-On Award for, I believe, the best snake, right?
So I think it was up and coming breeder.
That's what it was.
I think.
Yes. I have no memory of anything. But while we're talking about amazing snakes, in this particular video, look what we have here. Tell us all about this snake.
So this, first and foremost, is a carpet python, Morelia spilota. Now, I'm not a scientific guy, so this is not a specific species. This is a cross, or some people consider them hybrids. But this is the only available triple recessive, recessive genes, if you know your incomplete codoms and all that stuff, or incomplete dominance. So this is a albino exanthic granite carpet python. So this little girl is as close to a bone white carpet as you can get in the United States.
Wow.
She comes to us from our partnership with Star Python in Germany. So if you don't know about them, go check out Philip with Star Pythons. And this girl, as you can see, is just wonderful. And yeah, have you ever seen one of these in?
I have not, and that's why it caught my eye. The other reason why that caught my eye was because for years, we've been trying to make a solid white carpet python.
Yes.
And to do that, you had to do jag to jag.
Correct.
And for a lot of people that don't know what happened, was that the leucistics lived for about 4 days.
I think that is the max.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
might actually be like pushing it.
Yeah, right,
So
right.
We believe that it was a lung condition inside, but yeah, how upsetting, right? You
Right.
hit a blue-eyed Lucy and then it fails.
You're
That
right, it's a
is
kill
so
gene is what they call
sad.
it. But here, we have as close to an all-white carpet python as we
Correct.
might get.
Yep, moon glows are there too. This just being a triple recessive, a little bit harder to make. And as you can see, really great temperament. So really curious animals. As you can see, they're not just sitting still, but they're also not just running.
Yeah.
These guys are almost inquisitive. The scientists hate whenever I say they're intelligent, but I'm telling you, they seem to show a level above intelligence, Corn snakes make great first pet snakes, but so do carpets.
Absolutely, absolutely.
yeah.
Well, that is absolutely amazing. Thank you for showing that off. I came by your table and I saw this guy and I was like, whoa, what do we got here?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for coming. It's always a pleasure, Mr. Dave.
Absolutely, always a pleasure to see you as well. One of these days, I'm coming down to Louisiana. We're going to film a bunch of food videos for my
And I'm
food
gonna make you a
channel.
gumbo.
Yes, and we're going to go hunting for rats.
Rats. You did. You're going to talk me into Nutri-Rats, right?
Yeah,
because that's what every Cajun likes to eat.
That's right. All right, well, we're doing it. I will be in Louisiana as soon as I can. That is an amazing snake. Thank you so much for showing it off. Always great to see you guys.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah. All right, we've got Joey Flynn over at Flynn Reptiles. Always great to see you. You've always got amazing snakes over here.
Thank you,
and
sir.
These
Yes.
are no exception. Look at that. These are the first ones of these I think I've ever seen.
Okay, cool.
Maybe I
yeah.
see so many snakes.
Right.
But
yeah.
these certainly stand out. Tell us what these are.
Yeah, so these are Hypo King rat snakes. I got a adult pair from my buddy Jeff Numanius at Gateway City Reptiles. I finally got a clutch, and this is the offspring. So these actually just hatched out. This will be their first shed as well. So
Wow.
yeah.
So king rats, I mean, they're beautiful in and of themselves.
This will be more like of a lavender as they age. So
I mean, these are really amazing. And you can see just like this little hint of a pattern coming in. So these are pretty big colubrids. I mean, they can get up to 7 feet. And these are just babies. Are you selling these guys?
yes, they'll be available after they're ready to go. Yep.
And what are you going to be asking for them?
Rob told me 1,000 a piece because they're not
1,000
around. Yeah.
apiece. And what is your friendly neighborhood YouTuber guy who's filming price?
Less than that, of course.
$9.99.
Yeah. And a free deli.
Right. Oh, those are just absolutely amazing. When I first got into snakes, I was a colubrid guy through and through.
Absolutely.
And I just really want to get back into colubrids.
Yeah, they're exceptional. And Dave, I was going to give up on this whole thing until I talked to Bob Vico, and he told me, Joe, keep them cool.
Keep them cool.
And I did. I switched them up. Instead of like small rats, I gave them a bunch of mice, and she produced. So yeah.
And so you're feeding the adults multiple
Yes.
mice as opposed to
Absolutely.
bigger rodent meals like rats.
Yes. Yep.
And you're keeping them cool. And at what temperatures are you keeping them?
I'm just keeping them kind of in the reptile room, so they'll hit like 80 during the day, but at night they're in a lower enclosure, so they'll range from what's outside.
So no external heat
external
source.
heat. Yep. I shut off their heat source, and that's when the magic happened.
I mean, these are just classically, amazingly beautiful.
Yes.
Awesome.
They're my favorite because it's the only snake I have that growls at me.
Right? Right? They do say howdy a lot.
Yeah, they do. So.
Okay, those are just beautiful. I saw these, had to come over, stick a camera in your face, or their face.
Yeah, their face, absolutely.
And just show these guys off.
Yeah.
Very rare morph for this species. All right, so over here we are at Bushfeld Reptiles with Warren. House snakes are gonna be one of those snakes, if they aren't already, that is going to be, I think, the next big thing. I've said this in other videos before. These guys are kind of like, these are the missing link, so to speak, between colubrids and pythons. They are awesome. And now they come in so many different color varieties, so many different pattern varieties. But you have two here that I saw that we have just got to take a look at. Let's start with the blue-eyed hypo.
Let's have a look at them. Okay, so the blue-eyed hypo, this is a double homozygous mutation between the blue eye, which is as close as what we have to a leucistic house snake, but look at those eyes, are just stunning. And it's got this hypomenelistic lavender or mauve coloration, got some faint patterning in it, but this is just a stunning snake. It looks very different to the original wild type. People aren't really aware that these things exist yet, so they're just getting known in the American hobby. Yes, and they've got such a perfect package. As you mentioned, they've got characteristics of a python. They've got that very much Burmese python or Antaresia style head. They behave like a colubrid, and of course, phylogenetically, recently it's been discovered that they're actually closer to elapids than colubrids. But having said that, they are still a harmless constricting snake. They're almost bulletproof, and we advise them that they make some of the best pets for kids. They were the first snakes I started keeping in South Africa as a pet, and I've kept a range of all African species, and these have been a constant. I've narrowed it down to like, this is the best African snake to keep as a pet.
I couldn't agree more. And when you have morphs like this, for those people looking for investment quality snakes, this guy's $3,500. And so you're going to be spending about $7,000 to get a pair of these.
Well, there's been a lot of interest in these guys from ball python breeders. Ball python breeders who understand morphs, and they're getting excited because these guys do really well in the same environment as ball pythons.
Exactly.
You can keep them at an 80-degree ambient temperature, incubate their eggs just on the top of your ball python rack at room temperature, and as you can see, the value that some of these mutations have are quite appealing to the breeders. But then the biggest interest we have in these comes from the pet sector. People are looking for their first time pets, and there's such a range in the prices from a few $100s all the way up into these $1,000 animals. So we sort of have something on every level for people's interest in herpetoculture.
And there are so many different varieties of house snakes. Like, I was in West Africa, we were finding house snakes. I was just in South Africa, we were finding house snakes. And so there's so much variety that you can get into.
But we've actually narrowed it down that the best house snake is in fact the Cape house snake from South Africa.
I agree.
The Cape house snake is one of the more hardy of the species. South Africa is a semi-arid country, so they never have any shedding problems. They also have the most mutations coming out of South Africa. In fact, most of them originating around Durban, Natal.
Yeah, and when I was down in Durban visiting with Ultimate Exotics, they have house snakes that blew me away. I mean, just blew me away. Let's take a look at this marble here. Now, this marble is interesting because I understand that there's, what, 3 of these in the United States right now?
No, there's a few more than 3 of them.
Well, I guessed.
but they are in very short supply. This is the newest, hottest mutation in house snakes.
Okay.
They are out there though, they are in Europe already, but still very rare in the States. And we think of this as the first real pattern mutation, recessive pattern mutation. We call it a marble, but if you look at its head, it's a completely broken up pattern, a mosaic of speckles, and it's almost like a granite pattern. The typical eye stripes that are found in standard house snakes is completely absent in this animal. It almost looks like a totally different species.
Wow.
It actually reminds me of Lamprophis scrutatus, which is one of the dwarf house snakes, a spotted house snake. But this is 100% Boedon capensis.
I would venture to say that this is probably the rarest morph in the United States right now. Would you agree with that?
Probably, along with the Bushfeld albinos, which is our own line of albino that's not compatible with the others. We've only started releasing those in small numbers and only females. But next to those, I would say this is the rarest.
And this one is $5,000.
$5,000. Yes.
Is that 5,000 Rand or $5,000?
No, we add an extra zero in. When they cross the Atlantic, we get an extra zero.
You get an extra zero,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, well, it's tariffs, you know. That's...
Yeah, not to mention. So the price actually needs to come up now.
Wow,
Yeah.
these are amazing. Again, I think these are going to be the next big thing in snakes. Have you sold a ton?
We've had to fill up twice already, so we're actually doing really well at this show.
So this display and this display, you've had to fill up twice.
Yes.
That's how well these are selling.
Yeah, no, people are really getting into house snakes.
And I'm going to be right behind them or inside of them. So if somebody wants to get into house snakes and start breeding them, start working with them, doesn't want to invest a ton of money right off the bat, what would you suggest for them?
Well, you can get into some of the original lines of albino. We have the T-positive albino, the T-negative albino, the hypo or the ghost house snake. Those are also still new. And then there's combos of those like albino hypos or sunglow house snakes. These are in a few $100 range and they are easy to get into. We've got other projects that are line bred, namely the KZN red, which comes from a locality in South Africa where the soils are red and the house snakes have this beautiful red color. When bred into albinos, they make some of the best looking albinos. So we have KZN red project animals over here. Like this is a 50% KZN red albino. This one over here, 62% KZN red albino. So this is another generation breeding back to the pure. Just starting to release these now, but we're already up to 75%
Gotcha.
pure KZN red.
And then here's, just a beautiful looking one. This is a racerback.
Racerback is actually a locality where they have a dorsal and lateral stripes, and it's a polygenetic trait, but it's very transferable, very genetic. I mean, even 25% of it shows up in a normal albino.
And, it's a beautiful snake, $450. You want to get into house snakes, you can do it without having to, spend 2,000 ball python money.
You could get into house snake get a decent like albino or hyper for a couple $100.
Exactly.
And and then you can start breeding stuff that will pair them together with the right animals. You can be breeding stuff that's worth even more than that.
Exactly.
But still, you can't just standardly find albinos anywhere. Like you go to other tables, there's only I think there's 2 other tables that might have stuff, and one of them's not even for sale. They're just showing them
Exactly.
all. So
exactly. This is the
even the
next big
oldest
thing.
common stuff is not readily available yet.
This
They're
is
just
awesome.
getting introduced to the market. So I think
awesome.
house snakes is wide open.
And they eat mice.
Oh yes, these are some of the easiest snakes to feed. Most of these hatchlings start off on their first meal as a frozen thawed pink, and we just leave it in the enclosure overnight, and 9 out of 10 is gone. They'll never need to eat anything bigger than an adult mouse. Males will stay on hoppers or fuzzies. I've even fed these guys on reptilinks.
Reptilinks.
Yeah. I mean, once they start feeding, they'll even eat fingers if you offer them to them. No, they're some of the easiest snakes to keep, and that's why they're so conducive to captivity and breeding, hobbyists alike. There's even a big interest in the bioactive community with house snakes. Being small snakes, they're not going to trash your beautiful displays and crush your plants. You can keep them with isopods and other little interesting things, and they do well.
Wonderful.
In the communal.
Love it. We're going to have to do a whole house snake video coming up here, you and I.
Sure.
We'll do it.
Go over all the bases.
We'll do it. All right. Well, thank you so much for showing these guys off. Absolutely love these. Again, I really believe these are going to be the next big thing in reptiles.
Great. Well, we certainly think so.
Absolutely. Wow. So guys, when you come to an NARBC Reptile Expo or any Reptile Expo, you are going to see some of the most amazing snakes, and the NARBC here in Schaumburg is no exception. Those were some really amazing snakes. So guys, real quick, I just want to give a quick shout out and a thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. If you would like to become a Patreon and help support this channel, that link is in the description below. I would really appreciate all of your support. And guys, as always, thanks for watching, and until the next reptile adventure, love the planet, feed your reptile obsession, and rattle on.